Have you ever had a rough day? I'm sure most, if not all of you watching this video can think of a day or two that was rough, at least circumstantially speaking. Recently, my wife and I had one of those days. We had a 24-hour bug, still not exactly sure what it was, but wiped us both out. But those of you that know our home context, we have 3 little boys at home, and so both of us being wiped out with a bug while also having 3 little boys to manage, as you can imagine, was a little bit of a challenge. And so that was a rough day. But then the next day, we still were sick, but starting to feel a little bit better. So, well, maybe we'll try to get a little bit of stuff done around the house later in the day, in the evening. And so I had a project at the house that I had needed to get done for a little while. And so my wife was on a small group phone call. And so while she was doing that, I had 2 of the 3 boys to watch and was working on the project. Both of the boys started throwing a fit, so they're crying. I'm trying to manage them while managing a project I was working on. Forgot that water was running. We have a water filter we put in the fridge. Water was running in that and had flooded part of the kitchen because we left it running, forgot about it. So I'm trying to manage kids crying, manage water spill in the kitchen. And then at one point of the project, I had broken part of the project, and so kids are crying, water's overflowing in the kitchen. I think I either want to scream or cry, I'm not really sure. But I just think this is utter chaos. And maybe you've had projects like that have gone that way, or just days in general that have been rough, not so pleasant, have not gone so well. I think all of us have had rough days like that. And circumstantially speaking, they may be minor trials, minor difficulties, but I think most of us can relate to having some sort of rough day. The question is, how do we relate to God? How do we respond in the midst of such rough days or rough circumstances? Because the truth of the matter is, there are some minor trials like overflowing water, or kids crying or throwing a tantrum, or a project that doesn't go well. But there are also some very significant weighty trials. Finding out that a loved one is physically ill, a loved one dies, or other circumstances that you would rate as weighty, significant, heavy. There's a spectrum of trials, small trials, heavy trials. The question is, in the midst of the trials, the rough days of life, how do you respond? And there's an interesting story in Mark chapter 9. There's a story of a man whose son was possessed by a demon. And you think about spectrum of trials, that would rank near the top. Parents can relate to this man's agony in the sense that we long for the health and well-being of our children. We long for our children to flourish. And think about trials, and son being possessed by a demon would rank near the top of trials and difficulties. And yet this man's response in the midst of that trial, in the midst of the difficulty of that season, if you will, gives us a template, gives us a model to follow. Because that man had approached Jesus' disciples. Jesus' disciples were unable to really help the man. And in his approach of Jesus, the man said to Jesus, "I do believe, help me overcome my unbelief. I do believe, help me overcome my unbelief." In other words, I believe, help me in my unbelief. And I believe that statement, that prayer is so helpful. One, because it gives us a short and simple template for us to follow. In season of life where you don't really know what to do, you want to live a faithful life, but you feel challenged, you feel stuck. I believe that template gives us something rather simple to follow. Father, I believe, I trust you, help me in my unbelief. I believe, help me in my unbelief. And so that's a helpful, very helpful prayer, very helpful model for various seasons of life. But that prayer, that template is also helpful because it points to a grand theological truth. And that grand theological truth is that faith itself is a gift. It's a gift from God. Faith is an act of trust, confidence in the surety of who God is, and his precious promises, his character, his ways. But that confidence, that trust in God is a gift from God. Ephesians chapter 2, for instance, speaks of salvation as coming through faith, and this faith being a gift of God. And so faith itself is a precious gift from God himself. We've been reading at times children's storybook called the Jesus Storybook Bible to our children. And one of the chapters in the Jesus Storybook Bible is on having childlike faith. Jesus talked about this. He talked about having faith like little children. In this Jesus Storybook Bible, it talks about these speaks of little children as being gift experts. They know what it means to receive gifts. And that's, as believers, as followers of Jesus, in some sense, we need to learn how to become gift experts. To recognize our neediness, our dependence, and how really all of life is a gift of God, especially including the gift of faith. And so our ability to trust God, our confidence in God, is granted to us as a gift from God, which means that we ought to ask of God for the gift of faith. We need to cling to God by faith, and our faith itself, recognizing that our faith itself is a gift from God himself. And I've resolved recently that in addition to the Bible, which I want to read regularly, I've resolved that I want to read a couple of core books, 7 to be exact. In one of those 7 books that I've kind of resolved or purposed that I really want to get to know well over my lifetime, however long the Lord gives me, is this book, The Complete Works of E.M. Bounds on Prayer. I would highly commend it to you. It's been well worth my time investing thus far. And in one of the chapters on prayer, the chapters are rather short, kind of pithy on prayer. But E.M. Bounds on prayer, he makes this link between faith and prayer. And he makes the case that because faith is a gift from God, we ought to beg God for faith. So E.M. Bounds writes, and I quote, "Would you be freed from the bondage to corruption? Would you grow in grace in general, and grow in grace in particular? If you would, your way is plain. Ask of God more faith. Beg of him morning and noon and night, while you walk by the way, while you sit in the house, when you lie down, when you rise up. Beg of him simply to impress divine things more deeply on your heart, to give you more and more of the substance of things hoped for, and of the evidence of things not seen." So we ought to be a people who beg of God for faith. And so let us be people who learn the importance of that prayer. Father, I believe. Help me in my unbelief. And so faith is a precious gift of God. So let us be people this week who learn the precious nature of this gift of faith, but also learn to ask of God for this great gift. May the Lord bless you and keep you. Have a great week.